Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So, Resident Evil Requiem just got update 1.3, and this one is the kind of patch that actually gives people a reason to jump back in instead of just reading a couple of menu tweaks and moving on. Capcom has rolled out a free title update for all systems, and the biggest thing here is the brand new Leon Must Die Forever mode. On top of that, there are platform-wide bug fixes, and PC players also get DualSense wireless controller support with adaptive triggers, haptic feedback, and motion sensor features. That alone makes this update feel a little more substantial than the usual background maintenance patch. Now, let's talk about the part everyone is actually here for, because the new mode is clearly the headline. Leon Must Die Forever is an extra game mode that unlocks after you finish the main story, so Capcom is making you earn access to it instead of handing it over right away. Once it opens up, it pushes you into a set of stage-based combat challenges starring Leon S. Kennedy, and the whole setup is built around non-stop action rather than the slower rhythm of the main campaign. You are moving through areas you have already visited, but this time the focus is on speed, survival, and keeping up with what the game keeps throwing at you. What makes this mode interesting is that it is not just a simple horde throwback. The patch notes say the game mode includes stronger enemy variants, 5 difficulty ranks, and a race against the clock. So there is a real pressure cooker feel to it. Capcom also added Leon's enhancer abilities, which you unlock by filling an enhancement gauge through enemy takedowns. That means the mode is not only about aim and reflexes, but also about deciding when to push harder and when to play it safe. Even better, the order and progression of each area can shift between runs, and the enhancer options can change too, which gives the mode replay value instead of turning it into a one-and-done bonus. For people who like replayable challenge content, that is the kind of detail that matters. And honestly, the title of the mode sounds like Capcom is leaning all the way into that over-the-top energy on purpose. Leon has always been the Resident Evil character who can make absurd action look weirdly natural, and this update seems designed to let that side of him take over in a controlled challenge format. It is the sort of thing that should appeal to players who want a more arcade-style burst of intensity after the main story, because you are not just clearing rooms for the sake of it. You are doing it with escalating pressure, tighter time limits, tougher enemies, and a whole layer of build-style decision-making through the enhancer system. That combination makes the mode sound less like a bonus room, and more like a test of how well you actually understand the game's combat rhythm. On the technical side, the update is also cleaning up the experience across platforms. Capcom's official update notes mention fixed visual bugs related to some GPU drivers, and a crash issue that could happen in certain circumstances. That might sound less exciting than a new game mode, but these are the kinds of fixes that keep people from getting ripped out of the experience by random instability. So even though the new mode is grabbing the spotlight, the patch still does the unglamorous work of making the game smoother and more reliable for everyone. For PC players specifically, the controller support is probably the other big headline here. DualSense compatibility now includes adaptive triggers, haptic feedback, and motion sensor features, which means Capcom is clearly trying to bring the feel of the PlayStation controller over to PC in a proper way instead of treating it like a half-finished add-on. That matters because Resident Evil is the kind of game where tension lives in the details, and controller feedback can add a surprising amount to the atmosphere. When a game already leans on suspense, movement, and combat pressure, better input feedback can make the whole experience feel more responsive and more intense at the same time. This update is not just a tiny patch. It is a full-on content drop with a new post-game challenge mode, platform fixes, and improved PC controller support. The headline is obviously Leon Must Die Forever, but what makes the update worth talking about is how Capcom has packaged it as a replayable combat gauntlet with difficulty scaling, unlockable enhancements, and enough variation between runs to keep people coming back. In other words, this is the kind of update that gives fans a reason to finish the story, jump back in, and see how far they can push Leon before the game pushes back.